Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have 4 articles in this episode for you. The URLs are in the description of this video for your convenience. The first one here is off of ENE News. It says, what does it say? Hang on a minute. This is not what we wanted. What is going on with this? Okay, hang on. Emergency measures taken at Fukushima plant after found on reactor building floor. Situation much worse than expected. Experts say it's like a burning house. I was shocked by outcome. Streaming of radiation may be underway. And we'll see if we can get this blown up big enough that I can read it here. Zoom it up a little bit. All right. There's a bunch of articles here about this, and they go in backward order, but we'll start with the furthest one out. It was the 19th of February. It says radiation levels at Fukushima reactor puzzle nuclear experts. The robot's short-lived mission raised puzzling questions that could derail existing decommissioning plans. It found radiation measurements that indicate TEPCO was too optimistic about the state and location of the melted fuel. It may be spread out over the reactor's containment vessel. The situation within the reactor is much worse than expected, and a fresh investigation into the reactor is now nowhere in sight. An official close to TEPCO said, I had great expectations for the robot, so I was shocked by how it turned out. Instead of directly landing on the rail, the melted nuclear fuel may have flown off after it reached after it reacted violently with the concrete, which had high moisture content at the bottom of the containment vessel, just like what happens when lava pours into the sea. And then on February the 27th, we'll come up to that one. That's the newest one they have here. It says search for melted nuclear fuel at Fukushima plant's number 2 reactor faces obstacles. So far, they have been unable to identify the location of the melted nuclear fuel. A number of unexpected problems emerged. Heavy machinery, giant IHI Corp in Kizio Amathori, 38, who oversaw the mechanical boring of the containment vessel in December of 2016, explains that a number of unexpected dents were found on the floor of the nuclear reactor building. This was a surprising discovery for Imahori and his team, as an emergency measure. 1 meter by 1 meter iron sheets were used to cover the dents. Fukushima number 1 nuclear power plant, somewhat like a burning house. Also, Hieros of IHI Corporation states. So there's the latest information that I have on Fukushima. Good. The next one I have is off of BizPac Review, and it says heartbreaking photos of neglected veterans wreathing in pain at VA hospital sparks online fury. As leftists shriek over rights of illegal aliens and refugees, military veterans are dying of neglect. Heartbreaking photos of elderly veterans slumped over in a wheelchair and another lying on the floor of a Veterans Administration hospital have fueled outrage on social media. Former U.S. Marine Stephen McMenamin said his wife Hannah posted the shocking photos on Facebook, where they were shared more than 120,000 times. Hannah and Stephen were at the Dunham VA Medical Center in North Carolina when they saw a disheveled veteran using his bag of medicine as a pillow after being told he wasn't allowed to use a nearby reclining chair. The McMinimans described the man in the wheelchair as waiting in extreme pain for 3 hours while the man on the floor was barely able to sit up, walk, or breathe. The nurse started yelling at him, telling him he can't do that. McMiniman told WSB-TV, he's like, I can't get up. I will be here until you can see me. Can I please have a blanket? And on February the 24th, it says, Durham, North Carolina VA Hospital, my husband, Stephen McMiniman, and I witnessed some very disturbing events. The man in the wheelchair on the left were waiting in that waiting room for at least 3 hours. The man bent over, grabbing the chair, was yelling in pain, and was borderline convulsing and almost falling out of his chair. He was in so much pain. No one paid him any attention until I approached a nurse to please check on him. This gentleman sat in the waiting room in extreme pain for hours upon hours with very little attention paid to him. The McMinimans' Facebook post noted that it was one nurse in particular who was extremely rude and neglectful and did not want to implicate anyone who worked at the facility. Deanne Seekins, director at the Durham VA Medical Center, has since released a statement saying the matter is being investigated. I was made aware of a regrettable incident that occurred in our emergency department over the weekend, and I am thankful someone cared enough to share the incident with us. Our mission is to provide the highest level of health care to veterans, so upon learning of the incident, I took swift action. The employee was immediately removed from the patient care pending the results of an internal investigation. And there is video here that says, photo of veteran in pain at VA hospital causes outrage, infuriating, and unacceptable. But it is a video that you can click on to watch. It says on Monday, President Trump announced plans to boost military spending by $54 billion. The money will be used to build up U.S. armed forces and help veterans. Trump has repeatedly vowed to overhaul the scandal-plagued Department of Veterans Affairs and ensure that our brave men and women in uniform are given the respect and care they deserve. Meanwhile, Twitter users were outraged and disgusted by how poorly veterans are being treated right now. And there's a list of tweets if you want to pull it up to read those. The next one is off of Conservative Tribune. Near Mexican border identified. Residents horrified as Mexican sewage leaks. In the San Diego Tijuana region have recently discovered the cause behind an awful stench coming from the Tijuana River, and it has left them understandably outraged and disgusted. According to local news reports, the cause of the odor turned out to be more than 140 million gallons of raw sewage that had slowly leaked into the Tijuana River, making its way to the coast of Imperial Beach, California. Boundary and Water Commission reported that the sewage leak started February the 2nd during the repair of a sewage collector pipe on the Mexican side of the border. The sewage seeped into the river and wasn't contained until Thursday. That's just sick. Mayor Sergey Dedina was outraged by both the spill and the government's lack of response. This by far was the worst sewage spill in over a decade, if not ever, Mayor Sergey Dedina told KNSD. An area probably about 15 miles along the river. So you had residents along the river complaining about it, he said. And then it contaminated a stretch of coastline for more than 20 miles in the U.S. and Mexico. In a statement released Saturday, the mayor said border authorities charged with menacing, or I see it, my tongue don't say it. Okay, we'll try that again. Border authorities charged with managing sewage infrastructure and reporting these spills must do better and be held accountable for this act, the Sacramento Bee reported. He even called for the chief of the Water Commission, Edward Grocinia, to resign over the matter. This shouldn't have happened, Dedina said. It was absolutely unacceptable that it happened, and number two, it was unacceptable that we weren't notified. Something needs to be done about the leaks and the reaction time of the authorities in charge of notifying the residents. Thankfully, the beaches, which are popular with surfers, were already closed due to sewage runoff from recent storms. That's a stinky situation right there. This next one is off of BizPac Review. It says, parents fight Chicago schools' plan to teach about race, police brutality with no conservative view. Imagine that. Some Chicago area parents are unhappy about their school's latest plan to teach students about race, civil rights, and police brutality. A high school in New Tier High, or well, try that again. A high school in New Tier High School District 203, located in majority white, wealthy suburban suburb, planned a variety of workshops on voter suppression and affordable housing, reports Fox News. A parent group, the parents of New Tier, spoke out against Tuesday's planned lessons. They feel that the lessons are based on progressive views and that the school needs to recruit more conservative viewpoints. The school went about this in a way that ensures it will be narrow and divisive, said Betsy Hart, a mother of 2 children at the high school. Hart works for the Conservative Heritage Foundation. Other parents have said that the lessons are too political for the students to attend. A petition circulated calling for a more diverse set of speakers. It only garnered about 450 signatures, while a petition demanding that the event remain the same got about 5,000 signatures. The event will feature 2 speakers, Colson Whitehead and Andrew Aden. Whitehead is the author of The Underground Railroad, a book on slave trying to escape slavery. Aden, another author, wrote a graphic novel with Representative John Lewis on the civil rights era. Other events of the day will include workshops on Disney and racial stereotypes and tracing food inequality, food deserts in Chicago. We are proud of the work that our committee of 30 administrators, faculty, and students have done to prepare for this day devoted to critical thinking and discussion around an important topic. We are also thrilled to welcome 2 National Book Award winning keynote speakers who have written about civil rights in our country, said Dr. Linda Yonke, the superintendent. So there's all I have for you in this article, but there's another issue to come out yet this morning. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up, share it on your social media so everybody gets to hear the news. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. That way you'll stay informed.